So CEO, that job title must come with a huge amount of challenges.
It's definitely a transition when you move into the CEO role. We respect people, not position. That's really important to me. People drive our business forward.
How do you see AI creeping into the lift industry?
It's another tool to add to the armoury.
Doors closing. Welcome to the 13th floor. Stuck in a Lift HQ.
John, thank you so much for joining me. I'm stuck in a lift today.
Pleasure.
I am honoured and so grateful that you're stuck on that chair for at least 30 minutes because you've been travelling non-stop, is that correct? For most of the year. So
it's been a pretty hectic schedule, really, for the last 2 years, being CEO of Dewhurst. Got back into the country last Saturday, arrived late morning, got home from the airport about 1 p.m, headed home, had a haircut in between, picked my wife up and headed to the lift industry charity event on Saturday night, which was fantastic. So yeah, it's nice to be back in the UK, albeit for a couple of weeks. But then it is a holiday, so that's nice. And then start travelling again in November, a long trip, 3 weeks away from home, out in Singapore, Hong Kong, and seeing our business in Australia. So a pretty manic schedule all round.
Have you kind of got used to that now because you've been doing it for a while? How do you deal with the sleep and the energy and keeping up?
I think a bit of it's psychological. You can sort of get on a plane, and I think that I'm in a habit now of sorting myself out in terms of making sure you don't feel too tired, getting the balance of work and rest, and looking at a few films. You know, I've heard a lot about this raw dogging, what people are doing, that are staying awake on long haul flights. So a lot of these Premier League footballers have been staying awake on 10-hour, 11-hour flights, which definitely isn't me. Blimey. So yeah, I think I'm used to it. I sort of tend to hit the ground running when I get at the other end, so not too bad. Nice.
Well, how are you feeling now? How are you feeling today? Fresh, ready to?
Yeah, I think it's definitely looking forward to a holiday. Coming off the back of a really busy period, generally. End of our financial year end of September. So a lot of time spent on budgets and preparation and reviews of year end. A lot about the people side as well. So yeah, looking forward to the holiday, but feeling really good. Feeling good about how far we've come in the last couple of years, and excited about 2025, that we've sort of started the financial year already. I think that's the thing about a financial year end. When we end at the end of September, we finished last Monday, and then Monday evening the numbers go to zero, and then Tuesday you're off again, and that's it. You're looking forward and not back, really, most of the time.
So the Dewhurst Group, who are they and what do they do?
Dewhurst Group, been around for over 100 years, majority family owned, fourth generation in the business. I think you've met some of them already yourself, Jeremy and Peter, next gen in, which is fantastic. Operating across 4 continents, 12 companies. We've added to that recently with the acquisition of the Emotive brand from Avaya on our displays business in Singapore. In the main, we're very much lift oriented. We do have 2 businesses outside of that. TMP, our traffic management products business, based in the West Midlands, where we make highways products, bouncy bollards and sign lights for the highways industry. Okay. And then cash machines, we do the keypads for cash machines based in Hungary, so that keypad business out there. But the majority very much is in the lift industry. So
it keeps you busy?
Definitely busy looking after those businesses, and as well as looking at the strategy for the group and the growth about what we want to do. Clearly there's a long history in what we've got, but my role is really looking forward to the next 100 years. And you know, I've said to the team here, we've not come this far just to come this far. We're looking to grow, we're looking to invest. That's really important to us. I think one of the changes really that I've brought into the business is we've always been focused on people, but for me, putting people right in the centre of what we do around our strategy is key to our success. Things have been changing, and as you know, since the pandemic, things have changed a lot. So keeping up with that pace and change is really important. So that's definitely keeping me busy on that side. Dewhurst, the history speaks for itself, but the modernisation of that technology changing displays offers a new opportunity for us, and we'll look to continue that growth.
Target Lifts are proud to sponsor the Stuck in a Lift podcast in partnership with Blacks Productions. Everyone from the director to those out in the field are hands-on in their approach and available to speak to whenever you need them. Target Lifts are always aiming higher.
So you've got a huge team here, right, at Feltham. How can you just run through kind of the different departments you've got going on in this office here?
Yeah, from a group perspective, we've got the supporting functions for the team. So we've got our finance teams here, HR team here, IT and marketing as well, supporting the teams out in the field that are doing the day-to-day, which is running their business autonomously and looking to grow.
So how long have you worked in the manufacturing industry and what made you start?
Pretty much all of my career in building products and construction in manufacturing. I actually started out in highways, in vehicle excise, on the prosecution of tax evaders with tax discs. I lasted in there for a period of time because I became a trained prosecutor. And then at the time the Highways Agency was being set up, I was particularly interested in construction, sort of family had been involved in construction for numerous years, and went to work for the Highways Agency to head up their consulting, engineering and land division, where I was looking after tenders for highways procurement above 500,000. And that really sort of got me back into thinking about construction generally and manufacturing. So after that sort of 2-year stint, I ended up going straight into building products. The first area that I was in became commercial manager for a company called Carradon Terrain. Carradon's no longer around. That business was split up some time ago, and the division I was in was bought by Geberit. So I've always really been into the sort of manufacturing side, and from then on I've been in other building products as I've moved in my career into commercial director role, into managing director, and subsequently here with the lift industry as CEO. So really for 30 years in building products and manufacturing.
Did you know much about the lift industry when you first started going into the world of work, or was this kind of a new topic that you've
got an awareness because in construction you've got that, and my dad was a demolition contractor, so I had a good awareness of construction and some of the buildings that he took down in when I was growing up in the sort of late 70s and 80s that I witnessed. You got a good idea of what there was, and particularly when they were decommissioning lifts and more complicated structures to take down. And as I worked through my career from the sort of electrical side and the concrete side, in previous businesses we were doing a lot of the pours on the lift shaft, so you got a good idea of what's going in before we even get a chance from a sort of our perspective and what and we're fairly last in terms of what we do from our products from a lift perspective. If you look around the group, A&A are providing a lot of materials into the industry in the UK. Lift material doing the same in Australia. We've got cab businesses down there. They tend to be the last things in on that sort of construction site. But yeah, good awareness of what lift is about. And before joining the industry, been in it for 16 years and learning a lot as I go as well.
So CEO, that job title must come with a huge amount of challenges. Is there any that you can share with us?
Yeah, I think from a challenging point of view, I think one of the key challenges is the amount of travel. We're a disparate group. So for me, the business side is fine. You grow up, you gain that experience in terms of what you do. It's a different transition from managing director where you're so into the day-to-day and focused on that, to be taking more of a helicopter view, helping the guys support the growth of their businesses. You know, those guys are running it as the MDs. I'm no longer doing that role. Part of my role is to set the strategy, help set the strategy of the group, looking at the allocation of resources in where we spend our cash, what we invest in, and obviously the deployment of our people. So yes, it's definitely a transition when you move into the CEO role. It's one that I think I've coped with pretty well. I think probably the hardest one, as we mentioned before, is that travel where you've got this disparate group, invariably focused really on lift though, being in the air a lot of the time and people being our primary focus on what we do. That probably is the hardest thing to contend with. I think during your career you gain a lot of experience as you go through, so you can navigate most situations you're faced with. You get the odd one that comes up like the pandemic that's really uncharted, so that's a bit more going back, thinking on your feet in terms of what we can do, relying on instinct and relying on others. So certainly that team ethic really kicks in what you're doing at that moment in time.
Have you done any training courses along the way, or is it literally through experience that you're...
Done a lot of training as I worked through. Been a member of the Institute of Directors for a long period of time. I took my first directorship at 30, a commercial director, again in a PLC. So lots of management training as I've gone through, and lots of specific training regarding the areas I've been in, whether that be sales management, whether that be IT, financial courses as well. So yes, a lot along the way in terms of what I've done, and I think that a lot of it is that experience and learning. And to some extent, being outside of lift and in other sectors has also helped from the learning. People and businesses develop at different paces. So bringing that learning and some of that into Dewhurst has been important as well, leaning back on that experience.
At Target Lifts, they pride themselves on being completely professional at all times. As part of this, they have many accreditations from the likes of Safe Contractor, Construction Line, ISO 9001, 45001, and now 14001. They are committed to continually investing in their quality and reliability. Target Lifts are proud members of the Lift and Escalator Industry Association, and they support valuable causes like the Lift Industry Charity and the Lift Industry Mental Health Charter. For more on what they do, visit targetlifts.limited.co.uk.
What do you love most about your job?
The people. For me, people drive our business forward. That's what fuels our progress. We're in a position where we can invest in factories and buy vehicles and new pieces of kit, and that's part of our strategy. But it's our people that deliver it, and their craftsmanship, their passion, their dedication, their loyalty is so important to us. And actually taking them on the journey, as I say, we've been around for 100 years. I'm looking at the next 100 in what we do. And things are changing. Expectations are changing, flexible working conditions, expectations about people, what they want to do. So attracting people into the business, retaining them into the business, management, our talent, they're the things that really drive me forward. And we've got to do the day-to-day. I talk about keeping the wheels on the bus. Clearly, we've got to make sure our shareholders are happy. We're delivering the investment and the growth that we want to do to continue to invest in our people and grow the business. So yeah, most certainly people are my passion on a personal level, inside and outside of work.
People can be challenging though, right?
For sure.
Everyone is completely different. We're not all got the same path. Everyone has different views, different morals and things like that. So it has got to be a challenge. But I think every single person is so different, brings it into a team, and you've got a huge success because you've got so many different personalities and different people, which I think is fantastic because everyone builds up and builds up and builds up, and then that's how you grow, right?
Absolutely. I think it's really important. We recognise the talents of individuals. I always say to people, we respect people, not position. That's really important to me. It doesn't matter whether you're the CEO, the driver, the cleaner. Everyone's got a part to play in our business. Everyone understands their role and they're part of a collective team effort that delivers a result. What is important is having a common set of values, and that's what we've delivered across the group. All of our businesses have a common set of values that we've set. They're unbranded. They appear in every business. Doesn't matter whether you're in lift material or Dupar or elevator research in Los Angeles, everyone works in the same way. What is different are those people traits in terms of their own experiences, their life stories, what they're focused on and what they're doing, but we will have a common goal when we're at work. Supporting that is really important, supporting their development at the pace they want to go at, supporting the objectives for the business, but it really is all about the people.
Couldn't agree more.
Great.
Have you seen anything that's unexpected along your journey so far?
I think really the one that's been unexpected really was the pandemic. You didn't really sort of see that coming. That was a challenging time for everyone. It was a challenging time for people globally. It was a challenging time for businesses globally. In our business, we really didn't stop. We were seen as a critical provider to the lift industry, so we carried on through. But how you deal with that human side and understanding people is really important. I've been a great believer in mental health for a long period of time. It's something that I've championed in all the businesses I've been in, and not least here. So actually that stood us in really good stead in dealing with that when you had people working from home that were furloughed, making sure that you're in constant contact, actually taking people back in that you felt needed to come back in. So dealing with that was a bit uncharted territory, really, in terms of what we've come across. But I think you experience throughout your career, you get to see most things that come up. I think keeping a sort of fairly level head is really important, certainly in the role that I do. You don't want to get too overexcited sometimes. You're really passionate about the business and people for sure, but you've got to keep that level head. In fact, actually, if you see my office next door, I have a poem which is If by Rudyard Kipling that talks about keeping your head. So absolutely, that's how I see myself.
How did a day-to-day look like in the pandemic? Because obviously you've got a lot of rooms, a lot of spaces and a lot of people downstairs. So how did you navigate all the corridors and all the areas?
We reacted really quickly. I think the common sense really kicks in, and the government has set their rules on the 2 metre distancing and the sanitisation. That's something that we really focused on. Actually looking at our workflows, it was a good time because it challenged us to look at our workflows, where we work in the most efficient way. And actually what that really did for A&A in particular was really the automation of our processes, where we were previously pretty much paper reliant and a lot of human interaction about what was happening between offices. Adding that technology to it has really future-proofed the business as well. So I think we reacted really quickly. And I think some of those practices still remain in place today in terms of the things that we learned. I think the most important thing is, though, that actually coming together and the communication on a day-to-day basis is really important. I think the next challenge that we're seeing now is the working from home and the flexible working. How do we ensure that maintains whilst supporting people to be as productive as they can? Absolutely advocate the opportunity for flexible working, but also making sure that we maintain that mental health for everyone, because not everyone is able to articulate that in what they're feeling, and everyone's home life is different. For some people living in an HMO where they've got shared facilities, their escape is actually to the office, and you've got to recognise that, and we've got to have that voice for them to come forward and let us know what suits them the best.
Target Lifts are very proud to provide full apprenticeships. With the assistance of a training provider, Target Lifts can offer a complete training program that will give both practical and theory understanding in all areas of the lift industry. The apprentice will gain the necessary qualifications to enable them to grow as a lift engineer, and with the support from the Target Lifts team, you can have a fantastic career for life. Visit the contact page on their website if you are interested in becoming the next apprentice. Target Lifts are always aiming higher.
How do you see AI creeping into the lift industry?
No, I've seen AI come in a lot more into the business. I think it's a challenge that businesses, we need to make sure that cybersecurity is absolutely important. The human aspect of it is equally important. I think it has a key part to play in our future, understanding what it has to offer. But for me, really, it is a tool. It's another tool to add to the armoury. Is it going to replace people? No, not in the wider sense of it. It will become an important part of what we do. I think that we're learning that, we're seeing that more. We're adopting some of those principles in what we're doing at the moment, and we'll see what the future really brings. But technology is moving at such a fast pace that we've got to be mindful that we don't go too far and actually undo all the hard work that we've done to get where we are today. Yeah.
So we love to end each podcast in tradition, and we would love to know who you'd want to be stuck in a lift with and why.
There's so many people I'd like to be stuck in a lift with. It's hard to sort of get it down. There's equally quite a lot of people that I probably wouldn't like to be stuck in a lift with.
Yeah, fair.
But I think if I was really challenged on who it would be, I'd probably have to say some Leonardo da Vinci. I think that people are aware of his sort of creativity, but actually beyond that, the philosophy, the interest in anatomy, in art in general, in engineering. I'd be really interested to sort of explore that creativity aspect, particularly the curiosity of Leonardo da Vinci, and also get their opinion of what they think of today's technology, where things have gone on, that human interaction we were talking about, the reliance on things like AI and people on their phones constantly, and what impact would they consider that would have. And we can see some of that impact bearing out now.
You'd want me to pull the plug for a few hours, wouldn't you, with that one?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think we definitely want to be stuck in a lift for a little while. We wouldn't want anyone coming to our rescue too quickly on that.
What would be your first 2 questions you'd ask him?
I think really the first one, similar to the one that you asked me earlier, if you look back and think about what is the project that you've accomplished that you're most excited about, I think that one first.
Okay.
To see whether it really was the most renowned artworks, or whether it's something different. And I think the second one would be to give a sort of an overview of what life's like today, the technology and the challenges and the social interaction, and see what the reaction was to that.
Yeah, interesting answers I'd reckon you get.
I reckon we get some interesting answers, and whether maybe that would help shape our future as well. Maybe it would get us to reflect a bit more about what the impact of some of those things are.
100%. John, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been great talking to you.
Been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Doors closing.
We are best in class in what we do. and we need to maintain that position.
The thing I enjoy most is working with people. I love the fact that we've all got different ideas, but we've all got the same end goal.
Stand up for something. This is our way.